Hello everyone, my name is Saad Ali. I'm a software engineer at Google here at KubeCon Seattle, and I have with me Dan Ciruli.
Nailed it. Good job, Son.
Thank you, I've been practicing that. Dan, you are product manager of Istio.
This is correct.
And we have been talking to a few folks about Istio. Can you talk a little bit about why is Istio important? Why should someone care, or why should they use it?
Well, I think in general, people should be using Istio because the fact is people are deploying applications now that are complex. And there's lots of communication between pods, between clusters even. And when there's communication as part of your application, it's really important to be able to understand what's communicating with what, control what's communicating with what, and secure all that. So applications are distributed now, you need a way to reason about that, to secure it, and to control it.
And Istio provides a nice way to do that. It builds on top of Kubernetes, and you don't have to have that logic hard-coded into every single application that you write, and you can make modifications at a fleet level.
That's right. I mean, right now, typically people who either don't secure their applications or they spend a lot of developer time figuring out how to do authentication and authorization. Same thing goes for monitoring, same thing goes for traffic control. And if your developers are writing, say, authentication code, they're not writing business code.
Right.
If you're an insurance company, they're not writing insurance app code, right? And so what we try to do is just give more out of the box so developers can spend more of their time writing services.
So it's the classic separation of concerns design principle being applied at a larger scale.
That's exactly right.
Great. So can you talk a little bit more about what the current functionality is in terms of the open source product?
Yeah, so the three main things that people are getting from Istio today are observability, which is just the ability to understand how your application is working. That means gathering telemetry on every call. It means gathering logs on every call and traces. And putting those in a common place. In open source, that might be Prometheus. Some people are using it to send all that information to Datadog. We have an open adapter that's sending it to Stackdriver. The second big thing is control. When a service needs to call somewhere else, where is that service? How do you find it? Is there, say, a canary rollout going right now? Istio lets you control that. And then the last thing really is security, automatically putting MTLS on every single call so that all of your data is encrypted in transit, and so that once you have a strong identity for each call, you can perform authorization. There's three big benefits that they're getting today.
That sounds awesome. And what's coming up next in terms of the open source side of things?
In terms of open source, we've got a big focus on scalability and performance. We've got people who are running in production today. We also have people who are not yet running in production because they're too big. People who are running thousands of services. Much like Kubernetes in the early days, Istio wasn't ready for that. So we've got a big emphasis on scalability and performance. Second big thing we're working on is multi-cluster. Lots of people are running multiple clusters today. It might be that they're doing it across different regions. It might be that they need for data locality reasons, and it might be because they're using different cloud providers and or data centers. But in all those cases, they need communication between those clusters, and so we are working hard to make it much easier to simultaneously make calls from cluster to cluster while maintaining that observability, security, and control.
Got it. So definitely a lot more coming down the pipe. I understand that GKE offers Istio as a managed service. Can you talk a little bit about that and what GKE adds to it?
So what we announced yesterday was Istio on GKE. And what that is, it's an automated installation and upgrade of the Istio components into a GKE cluster. What that means is that, like, some people have complained, Helm is relatively new, people don't really like it. We said, hey, we'll do the installation for you. Help people get started. More importantly, we do the upgrade for you too. Upgrades are a pain. One of the things people love about GKE is that we upgrade your nodes for you, right? We upgrade GKE. Well, if you're using Istio on GKE, we also update the Istio components. And so that's a big benefit. It's just going to make it easier to get started. We also are by default sending all your metrics, all your logs, and traces to Stackdriver. So people can go create really good service dashboards, right? The golden signals that Istio monitors. What is the rate of traffic on each service? What's the error rate? What are your latencies at different percentiles? Lots of people don't know that. If you use Istio on GKE, you're just going to see that in Stackdriver.
And so what is your recommendation for customers who might be interested in adopting Istio? How do they get started?
Oh, I think this is the easiest way to get started.
Nice.
Turn up a GKE cluster or take an existing one, install it. And one thing to note is that for Istio, some of the things it does fairly transparently. If you're just using it for monitoring, you don't have to change the way you write your application at all. Same thing is true for MTLS. If you want to get into more sophisticated features, if you want to try doing canary rollouts, say, you're going to have to understand the Istio networking concepts, and you have to think about those things. But if what you really want is just observability into your services, or just MTLS in your services, you don't have to change anything. You install it, and it'll just start working.
That's super cool. All right, let's switch gears a little bit, and we're here at KubeCon, of course. This is the largest KubeCon we've ever had. I imagine this is not your first KubeCon.
It is not.
Can you tell us a little bit about the changes that you've seen over time with the various KubeCons you've attended and the community at large?
This is an amazing conference. I've been to a lot of conferences in my day, and the sense of community here and the energy is bizarre. It really is. And I tell you, I've been a vendor. We're on the show floor right now, right? I've been at show floors where tumbleweeds could go blowing down the aisle. I'm not kidding, because it's not worth going. And here, there's so much happening in this space right now that everywhere you look, there are people having interesting conversations. And this isn't something where all the vendors are just scrabbling, trying to get someone to come listen to their sales pitch. It's where people are coming here to learn, right? The sessions are fantastic, but everything that's going on in this space is fantastic. So, of course, it's getting bigger. I mean, everyone must say, oh, it's so much bigger. Of course, it's growing exponentially, it seems like.
We were talking to Louis earlier today, and he mentioned that he hasn't had a chance to attend any of the talks because everybody's just so interested in talking to him about Istio.
The thing is that all of the talks are going to be recorded. You can watch all that later. What you can't do is go talk to her and him and that person right there later. And so yes, I think a lot of us, like I have been talking to people nonstop today, and I'll catch up on sessions later.
That's awesome. And speaking of sessions, is there anything that you're interested in watching later?
There are a bunch of Istio sessions I'm going to watch. Envoy also, Istio is getting a lot of attention. Part of that is because we did choose Envoy, and there is so much happening in the Envoy space just on its own, and I'm certainly going to go back and catch some of that.
Awesome. And last question, what is your favorite KubeCon memory?
Ooh, my favorite KubeCon memory. That's a really, really tough one. I'm going to have to say Kelsey Hightower keynotes.
Oh, yes.
And it's hard to pick a particular one because they're always amazing. Last year, here's a completely non-technical thing. Kelsey Hightower did his entrance 3 times. He came out, he did his entrance, and he's like, what's happening? That's not enough. I'm going to go back, do that again. And he came out, and of course, then the crowd's really yelling. And he's like, that's not enough. And the 3rd time, people are practically on their feet. It was a very Kelsey moment, and I loved it.
We love Kelsey. Well, thank you very much, Dan, and enjoy the rest of your KubeCon.
It's a blast. Thanks, son.
Take care.